So we're going to continue on the BidAsk spread. And in this case, we're going to analyze one currency called a British pound. Okay, and we have an ask price of a pound and we have a bid price of the pound. And we know that the ask price is always greater than the bid. So that means you are buying things, you pay more price than the money you receive for selling the same thing. Otherwise, you would be making arbitrage profit, or the bank would be losing money for providing the service to you. And we have also covered a direct quote and an indirect quote. So under the direct quote, our currency in transaction is pound, and then the price of the pound is expressed in US dollars. Okay, so that's the arrangement of the currency symbol. Let's say the ask price for direct quote is $2 per pound. It's a very easy number for simplicity, so that's easy to demonstrate. And the bid price should be lower. Let's say it's a $1.25 per pound. And we also have an indirect quote. Indirect quote is also called the European terms. That is basically the amount of a foreign currency in exchange of $1 US. And you are going to take the reciprocal to get the direct, to get the indirect from the direct. If you take the reciprocal, then $2 per pound will be half pound or 0.5 pound per dollar, and $1.25 per pound would be 0.8 pound per dollar. And you are not going to take the reciprocal and put them right underneath there. You are going to put it in a diagonal place. So the $2 would be 0.5 pounds per dollar, okay? And the $1.5 per pound would be 0.8 pound per US dollar. As I said, this would be a diagonal combination, so just be aware of that. So still, the ask price is greater than the bid in this indirect quotation, just as it was in the direct quotation. And if we are having the direct quote, then the currency you're dealing with is British pound. Let me use a different color. Let's say British pound. Okay, so if you are asking things, you are buying things, that means you are buying British pound. Okay, and if you are looking at the bid price, that essentially means you are selling British pound. But if you are dealing with an indirect quote system, the currency in your transaction, the subject here is US dollar, and the US dollar is your commodity, and the price is expressed in British pound. Okay, so US dollar is the commodity we're trading. If we want to buy $1 US, then we will need to pay 0.8 pounds. So this is about a buying US dollar. And if you are selling $1 US, then you would get 0.5 pounds. So this is about a selling. Alrighty. And now let me give you one example. Assume that you have $100 and you want to convert it to British pound. And how much pound would you get? Essentially, this is about dollar to pound conversion, and you should know that which currency are you buying, which currency are you selling. So you are using $100 to buy a certain amount of pounds. So you are buying pounds, and simultaneously you are selling dollars. Okay. So if we use the direct quote, then we will use the ask price for pound. Okay, so we will use the ask price of pound, which is a 0.2, which is $2 per pound. Then I'm going to use this $100 divided by the price of each pound. Okay, so this would give me 50 pounds. Alrighty, if you do the math, then this dollar and a dollar will be canceled out because they are at the two sides of the fractional line, and this pound sign will be flipped to the top, so only the pound sign will be retained. Okay, and there's another way to calculate it. You can use the indirect quote as well, except that you are not focusing on buying pound side of the story, you're focusing on the selling dollar side of the story. So if you are selling $100 US, and then you would get the price of $1 in amount of pounds. So this is the pounds you will go for. Okay, so you sell dollars, and then if you sell something, then it should be this 100 US dollar, that's your commodity to sell, multiply, not divide, multiply the price that each dollar is worth in amount of a pound. Okay, and this is going to give you 50 pounds as well. And in this math calculation, you will see the dollar here and the dollar right here got canceled, and this pound got this pound symbol got retained, so 50 pounds is left. Okay, so we can do more practice. Let's say if you have 200 pounds to sell. Okay, let's say you have 200 pounds to sell, and you want to make a conversion of 200 pounds to a certain amount of US dollars, and you want to figure out how much dollar you can get. So this is about sell pounds and also buy US dollars. You are selling pounds and buy US dollars. And if you are selling pounds, then you would focus on the pound, the direct quote. So the direct quote is dealing with the foreign currency, foreign exchange. It could be pounds this time. It could be Japanese yen next time, or Swiss franc next time. And you start with 200 pounds and you want to sell it. So it's 200 pounds. When you sell things, it's going to be multiply the price. And this is the price you want to multiply it by. So it's 1.25 $1.25 per pound. And this would give you 250 pounds. Alrighty, and if you are focusing on the buying dollar part of the story, then you will need to buy dollars, and then you will go for the ask price in the indirect quote. So if you are buying things, you're gonna use the money you have in your hand, okay, which is 200 pounds, divided by, if you're buying, you should divide the money by the price, which is 0.8 pound per dollar. And in this calculation, you will see a pound and pound get canceled, dollar sign will flip to the top, and this together will give you 250 US dollars. And this is a US dollar as well. Okay, this is a US dollar as well. Okay, so there are two ways to calculate your exchange proceeds. From a dollar to other currencies, or from other currencies to US dollar. And you can use bid and ask for direct and indirect. Just make sure you do the right number. You select the right number. So if you're buying pound, if you're buying foreign currency, you'll go for the ask price in the direct quote. Okay, so let me just write it down for you. If you are buying foreign exchange, then you will use the amount of dollar divided by, okay, this is a divide calculation you need to do, and then you will use the ask price of direct quote, okay? And if you are selling foreign exchange, okay, if you are selling foreign exchange, then you will need to multiply, okay, multiply the bid of the direct, okay? And if you are buying foreign exchange, it's the same as your sell US dollar, right? Same as your sell US dollar. If you are selling foreign exchange, it's the same as you buy US dollar, okay? So if you are selling US dollar, then you will need to multiply, okay, the bid price of indirect, okay? If you're buying, then you're gonna divide the ask price of indirect, okay? From this writing, you should know that if you are buying things, okay, if you are buying things, you should divide the ask price, okay, you divide the ask price, okay? And if you are selling things, okay, if you're selling things, you should multiply the bid price, okay? If you're selling, you multiply the bid price, Okay, the thing is, if you are dealing with a foreign exchange as the subject here, okay, then you should use a direct quote. If you're dealing with a US dollar, then you should use indirect quote. Okay, it depends on how you treat the story. For the same exchange from a dollar to pound, so you can see this is about selling dollar. It's also about buying pound. So you can pick the method that comforts you. Okay, you can either say I'm selling US dollars, so I will multiply the bid of an indirect. You can also say I'm buying pound, so I will divide the ask of a direct. Likewise, if you are converting pound to US dollar here, then you are selling pounds and buying dollars. So this would be the same transaction, but you can choose to use either direct quote or indirect quote, depends on whichever comfort you. Okay, so this would be a rule to follow in your calculation. And let's get back to the PowerPoint. So we have this businessman, and he is holding some euros and some pounds, and he wants to convert to US dollars. How much proceeds can he get? So if you are looking at euro conversion, and this is the direct quote with a euro bid and ask, this is the lower one. The lower one is the bid price. That's 1.4739 US dollar per euro, and the ask price should be higher, 0.44. You know, this just skip all the previous digits. It should be 1.47, the same as a bid, and $4 per euro. Okay, this is a more realistic number. Not as easy as the one I showed you earlier for illustration. So if we want to do the euro conversion, then you should know that you are essentially selling the euros, right? You're essentially selling euros to get the dollars. Then you should use 250,000 euros, multiply this bid price in the direct. Okay, you see this is, get back to our role. So we're gonna sell euros, so we will multiply the bid of the direct quote. So you will need to multiply this 1.4739. Okay, and if you are about buying the pound, okay, but this is not a direct quote provided to you. This is essentially a indirect quote. It means 0.5025 pounds per US dollar at the bid and 0.5076 pound per dollar at the ask. So what are you doing with the dollar? That is the question, because if you are going to utilize the indirect quote, you're asking yourself, what am I going to do with the dollar instead of what am I going to do with the pound? All right, so indirect is about dollar, direct is about the foreign currency. Since you have an indirect quote here, then you should know that I'm going to deal with my US dollar. So if you are converting pounds to US dollar, then that means you are buying dollars and sell pounds at the same time, right? So you are about buying US dollars. If you're buying US dollars, then you will need to divide the ask price, okay? Just like you buy anything, you divide the price. So you should use 500 pounds divided by this 0.5076 pounds per dollar. Okay, it's the same transaction, sell pound to get US dollars, but we just focus on the buying dollar side of the story. Okay, so that's your answer. And for the euros, as I mentioned earlier, essentially we are selling euros, so we go for the bid price, then we will use the amount of euros multiplied by the bid price in the direct quote. So I know this get very touchy, especially you want to know whether to use direct or indirect, whether to multiply or divide, or whether to treat the foreign currency as the subject or treat US dollar as a subject. And we cannot just do a purely guessing because each time you have 50% chance of making a mistake, either dollar to pound, or use direct or indirect, or you multiply or divide. So you have a 3 process of a 50% chance guessing. So that's gonna make your accuracy rate down to 12.5%. That's a 1/8. You can do the math that's the statistics. Okay, so the bottom line is you should know the calculation rule here. That's very important for this class, for this chapter, and you're gonna use the same skill in later chapters as well. Okay, so here is a little bit rule we need to follow. So let me just rewrite it. So if you thinking about a dollar to foreign exchange, or foreign exchange to US dollar. So there are 2 things you could get. You can use the, so this is about a sell dollar and a buy foreign exchange. Okay, if you are buying foreign exchange, you will use the direct quote. If you focus on the dollar side of the story, you use the indirect, because in the indirect quote, the dollar is treated as commodity, and the other currency, the foreign exchange, would be treated as the price. And if you sell, you always multiply the bid. If you buy, you always divide the ask. Okay. Likewise, if you're doing foreign exchange to dollar conversion, so you are buying the foreign exchange. You are buying the US dollar, and then you sell the foreign exchange. If you are focusing on the dollar side of the story, you're going to use the indirect. If you focus on what you do with the foreign exchange, you use it direct. Okay? Direct. Alrighty. So if you are buying things, you always divide the ask price, and this time the ask price is indirect. And if you're selling things, you always multiply the bid. Okay, this time the bid is direct, different from the previous example. So this is a calculation rule you need to remember. Since it's an online class and all the quizzes are take home, just like the exams, you can put this in a piece of paper as your formula sheet, and that's going to be very helpful to you.